How will others know you are a self-leader? What will be visible signs that you are a self-leader? And I love seeing the students share how others will recognize them. It's them speaking up, them taking action, them being proactive, them talking to adults or setting up a meeting or starting their own podcast. One really stands out to me is one student said, "I won't let small fears hold me back."
Welcome back to Mad and Lucy, Mind the Gap. I'm Mad, pronouns she, her, and lately, I've been thinking about how leadership isn't something you're handed. It's something you grow into little by little as you kind of figure out who you are and what really matters to you. So it's not something that someone can really give you. It's something that you have to learn how to own.
And I'm Lucy, pronoun she, her. For me, becoming a leader starts with learning your voice and asking yourself, what do I care about enough to speak up for? Our guest today understands that journey better than most.
We're here with Ellie Haskins. She's not just a thought leader in self-leadership. She lives it. Ellie teaches both high schoolers and adults about how to lead themselves, and she's a proud Leadifier, and she's currently training to become a coach.
What really stands out to me is how Ellie has learned to trust her own voice, and now she helps others do the same. Ellie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Lucy and Matt. I'm so excited to be here and get to have a conversation with you all.
So Ellie, when did you first realize that this idea of self-leadership wasn't just something you believed in, but something you were meant to champion? Was there a moment when it really clicked and you thought, oh, this is my thing?
There is honestly so much I could share about this topic, but I feel like I've been on a mission for years, honestly, since high school, to help people love their work days and their lives more. And I didn't always know exactly how that would unfold and what that would really look like, but I knew I wanted it to be real and grounded in research and not just good ideas. And it led me to study communication in undergrad, and that eventually led me to grad school. Grad school is just interesting in and of itself because honestly, research and writing papers, if you know me, that is not my strength or strong suit, but I had this dream and this vision in mind, and I knew that I couldn't let that stop me. So I went to grad school and I was just studying how do we impact company culture in a positive way through communication. As I was graduating grad school, I got invited to take Blanchard's self-leadership collaborative online course. And right after I took that course, it was a crazy time of my life because I was following my dreams, moving out to California, learning about challenging beliefs that could hold you back. And I was so drawn to this concept because I'd seen that through grad school. Earlier, I said that wasn't really my thing. I'd been challenging these beliefs that could have held me back from getting to the point that I was of moving to California. And at the time when I was moving to California, I had a theme song when I drove across the country. I was playing the song, "Do You Believe in Magic?" I don't know if you all know that. It's like an older song, but I just felt like that was the time of my life. Like all these magical things were happening. And I was learning about self-leadership. And I picked up the book, The Self-Leadership and the 1-Minute Manager. The very first chapter is titled, "Do You Believe in Magic?" And that was like this time where it just felt like all these stars were aligning. And it was the concepts that resonated so deeply with me as I was thinking about, okay, how do I actually help people enjoy their work days more? And so I realized now I have language for what's helped me be successful. So how can I share this to help others accomplish their dreams?
It's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. You've really grown into a clear and thoughtful voice in the self-leadership space. You show up consistently, whether it's through your videos on LinkedIn or TikTok, or just the way that you shaped your brand and your message. And I know that kind of clarity doesn't happen overnight. So my question for you is, what helped you find and shape your voice as a thought leader? And even for people who don't know, can you describe like what it means to be a leadifier?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the key for me in this whole journey of finding my voice, I would say it starts with self awareness, and that can be tough, but I feel like it really is a journey of learning to tap into and trust what is me versus what is the world telling me about what I should be or what success
Mhm.
looks like. And I really do believe that one of the absolute bravest things you can do in this world is to be yourself. I remember starting out my career at Blanchard, and I was looking at all the people ahead of me and trying to be like them rather than me tapping into my own voice and my
Mm,
authenticity. And what's helped me is really paying attention to what lights me up,
mm,
what energizes me, and what feels aligned. And that's how I can start to show up and have started to show up more consistently and authentically. So often people jump to, I want to be a leader. I want to lead
mhm,
others. I want to gain leadership skills. But what we talk about in self leadership is in order to lead others effectively, you first need to start with yourself.
mm,
Learn to lead yourself first, and that will give you a good foundation to be able to lead others. So, no matter where you are, no matter your age, no matter your occupation, your position, you can take ownership of leading yourself. And as a leadifier, what I do is I write blogs and I share what I've learned about leading myself in order to help others. I believe each and every single one of us has valuable lessons to share that other people can benefit from. Honestly, I look at my own content on Leadify, and they're reminders for myself of
mm.
what's helped me and what I want to continue to do. And so I hope that they help others like they help me still. I'm just sharing what works for me.
Funny. I love that.
Yeah, so you'll see some of my, post about morning routines. That's so important to me when it comes to leading
Mhm,
yourself is taking ownership of your morning routine. And another blog I shared was I learned about the Gottman's XYZ statements
mhm.
that you can use for conflict or in difficult conversations. When you do X in situation Y, it makes me feel Z. And that is a framework that I've used to improve my communication. And it can be helpful to go back to that. And I really do feel like a lot of the messages that each of us are empowered to share come from our past experiences and the way we grew up. And to be honest, I think my mom didn't always recognize the power that she had to take ownership and be proactive and go after her dreams. And I don't want to fall into that same trap. And I think I want to help others not fall victim to that mindset of letting everything happen to you rather than you take action to make the things happen that you really want.
Wow.
I think one of the things that's so powerful about you doing this work and sharing your story is, to just look at you, Ellie Haskins, on LinkedIn or TikTok or whatever. I think it would be easy for someone to say, oh, this is just natural for her. It's easy for her because you make it look easy, right? Because you put a lot of thought and a lot of work into it. And I think one of the things to take away is that it's not easy for anyone. I don't care
Mhm.
how easy somebody makes it look, it's not easy for anyone.
Yeah, and I think that's why I am so passionate about self-leadership too, is I use it all the time. I have so many beliefs that still want to trap me and hold me back.
Mhm.
This is my first podcast. Like I have beliefs that can limit me in that of little fears that could keep me from showing up authentically. And I constantly have to be a self leader and be brave. And it's so real for me. And it still is true for me. This idea of practicing the mindsets and skill sets of being a self leader on a daily basis. I think that's where the passion comes through. Is it's not something I just did in the past, but it's something I'm still doing every day. Like I just, I'm constantly trying new things. I'm going to, as you all know, start the process to becoming a certified ICF coach. And that's a new challenge where, I have to step up and be a self-leader. In my role, I'm constantly teaching new courses, and I constantly have to challenge beliefs that hold me back. I work with people that are older than me all the time. So I have to challenge this belief that because I'm younger, my voice doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk a little bit about this because you work with adults, but you also teach high school students through the Blanchard Institute Student Self-Leadership Program, helping them explore what it really means to lead themselves first. My God, if I'd had this in high school. But honestly, at that age is such a powerful time to start building these habits, right? That last a lifetime. What's a moment from the experience of working with teens that has really struck you, a time when you saw a student really step into their own leadership?
Oh gosh, yeah. There are so many stories I could share of students that are transforming into self leaders. But as I reflect and really think about it, what stands out most to me is this identity shift that I see happens in the students. At the beginning of the course, we ask, how many of you see yourself as a self leader? There's a small number of students that come in and already see themselves as self leaders. And then it's a 4-week course. And in the last live session we have, I ask students, do you see yourself as a self leader? And it is incredible to see how students have this identity shift. They're sharing in the chat, I am a self leader in all caps. So many of them that didn't see themselves as self leaders at the beginning of the course. When students' identities shift and they see themselves as a self leader, that impacts the way they show up in every single room. Mm-hmm. That impacts the way they show up to their classes, with their friends, in their group projects, at their house. And so that's why it's not so much about these big dramatic moments, but it's that identity shift that changes everything. And then I see these small, brave choices they make where students say, I'm afraid to share my voice. I'm afraid of public speaking. And then you see that exact same student on a call with you speak up. You see them challenging these beliefs that could hold them back. I'm not a public speaker. I'm afraid to speak up. And then they are in front of you in a large group. I mean, sometimes we'll have 100 students on the call and they are challenging that belief right then and there. And another student, they'll share, I'm worried about speaking in a second language, which is English. Yeah. And they're sharing live in their second language with me, talking about their fears of it. That's so powerful to see that in the moment. I'm just so proud of them because it's those small moments that make a big impact. The other thing I want to share is in the very last call with the students, we have them share, how will others know you are a self-leader? What will be visible signs that you are a self-leader? And I love seeing the students share how others will recognize them. It's them speaking up, them taking action, them being proactive, them talking to adults or setting up a meeting or starting their own podcast. And one really stands out to me is one student said, I won't let small fears hold me back anymore. And I love that because I think as we take action and don't let small fears hold us back, then it helps prepare us for bigger moments when it is a bigger move or a life change. So that is really what it's all about is you can practice self-leadership in the small areas, aspects, decisions of your life. And that will help you in the bigger areas, the bigger decisions.
I love that. It reminds me of, I know my sister, who's like about 5.5 years younger than me, she went through the student self leadership course about a year ago, actually last summer. And although I would have already called her a self leader before that, I think she came out like able to stand up much taller and be more confident and have language to describe, like what you said, the things that she was already doing. And I think it just gives her the confidence to keep showing up, and it also gives us a common language where it's like, if I notice her falling into an assumed constraint, I'm like, Sally, is that an assumed constraint or is that something real? And then there's the whole slouching and like, you're right, you're right. But it's been such a great tool for both of us. And she's definitely one of those people that's like, wants to follow the rules, wants to just stay in her lane, just very thoughtful. But at the same time, I think this framework has given her the tools to push back against that sometimes when it calls for it. So I just love that. I've seen it firsthand in my own family, even.
Gosh, I love that. Yeah. My family puts back on me all the time, or they're like, Ellie, is that an assumed constraint? I'm like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
But it's great to have this language with others to use to be able to name the realities that you're experiencing. Because
Yes.
when you can name something, then you can better overcome it because it's not this abstract, unidentified aspect of life. It's something that you can actually name and take back control and power over.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love that.
All right. So Ellie, you're training to become a coach now, like you shared, which feels like such a natural step. And so I'm curious, what's pulling you in that direction, and how are you thinking about the kind of coach you want to be based on all those things that you've shared?
As you all can probably tell, there's nothing I am more passionate about than helping others accomplish their dreams. It literally lights me up when I hear people land their dream jobs, do things that they want to do, take risks. And I believe that coaching helps me better support others in accomplishing their dreams. And in self leadership, we talk about you don't have to take this journey alone. You can't do it alone. We all need support and accountability and people to champion us. And I see going through coaching, getting my coaching certification as a way for me to better champion and walk alongside people in uncovering their next steps. And I know when you are going after a really big goal or dream, it helps to have accountability, someone to keep you on track and help you see things that you might not be able to see when you are really in the middle of your journey. I do also think some people can lack direction, and I want to help people connect back to their purpose and their why so that they can move forward. I want every single person to fall in love with the life that they are living, in awe of their one precious life that they get to live.
Mic drop. So good.
Yes.
In theory, because I am a coach and I've been coaching for such a long time, I'm supposed to say something wise right now about coaching. But all I can say is it isn't telling people what to do, which is what most people think coaching is. It's just such a powerful, it's a technique, right? That helps people to do all these things that you're doing for yourself. And I think a lot of people see, again, someone like you, Ellie, and wrongheadedly think, I want to be like Ellie. So I'm going to hire her to be my coach so she can tell me what to do to be more like her. And it's like, no, people. What Ellie's going to do is help you be more like yourself. And it's funny, Ellie, my purpose as a coach, it's so similar to yours. It was always to help people really find the parts of themselves that they love and kind of leverage, one of my favorite words, leverage those parts to, create whatever they want to create in life and business and leadership. Because I think so many people think they have to leave parts of themselves on the cutting room floor. I think coaching is the perfect kind of additional skill set for your purpose in life.
Yeah, and I love it. There really is skill to it. There's so much skill to it. So I recognize there's so much for me to learn. And as I start this journey, I will be having to practice every part of self-leadership throughout the whole process.
As we all do.
Mm-hmm.
As we all do.
I love that too, Ellie. I love that you are just sort of this living example of what it looks like to practice the very thing that you are trying to equip other people to do. Whether it's through your Leadify content and things that you've done through that partnership, but just in how you show up, like for everyone in your life, no matter what their relationship is to you, and in your online spaces, you are just absolutely authentic and so like open about the fact that you're still learning and growing too. And I think that's encouragement we all need, right? So I appreciate that about you for sure. Before we let you go, I've got one last question for you. If you could go back and sit next to yourself at the very beginning of this journey, when you were just starting to explore your voice and maybe doubting it, what would you tell her?
For me, I would say, don't worry so much about sounding perfect. Don't worry so much about sounding perfect. Just show up as you. Early on, I alluded and shared this earlier. I thought success meant sounding like everyone else. As a facilitator, I used to really be so worried about the leader notes and being so scripted and saying what everyone else would say. As I've matured, I've found that the best moments I've had come when I speak from my heart. I even had in some of my online sessions, one of the producers early on, I would say, type in the chat heart, HEART. And that would remind me to slow down and speak from my heart rather than my head, because sometimes I would start speaking and I wasn't aligned with what my head and my heart were saying. So speak from your heart, lead from your heart, live from your heart. And I'd also say have clarity on what you want to communicate and why. You can use this in your personal life, how you communicate with your friends, how you show up with whoever, wherever you are. And then also at work, in business meetings, wherever you find yourself. Think about what you want to communicate and why you want to communicate that. And then show up with that intention.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Ellie. Your work is just a powerful reminder that leadership really is an inside-out proposition. And I can't wait to see where your coaching path takes you.
Thank you. I'll leave you with this. Success looks different for everyone, so be yourself because that's where your real power is.
I love it. And to everyone listening, if you've ever wondered whether you're ready to lead, here's your reminder. You don't have to have it all figured out. Start where you are, start with what matters to you.
And if this conversation resonates for you, please send it to someone else who's learning or practicing to lead themselves too. So until next time, keep minding the gap and keep showing up